Hello, Stefan. It's my pleasure talking with you, and welcome back to Romania. How are you feeling?
I'm doing fine. A little bit exhausted after one tour, 1 week doing double duties on this tour. But things are fine. Everybody behaves so far, even the Dutch. No, to be honest, it's all good. Good vibes, good feeling, good turnouts. Overall, I would say a successful tour.
Yeah. So on the road again over Europe, along the Dutch metalers from God Dethroned, Fractal Universe, and your other band, Thulcandra. So how is the tour going so far then?
As I mentioned, it's doing well. Turnouts are fine. Everybody's happy. I think the shows are really, well, successful, so to say, since the fans visiting the shows go home with a smile in their face, which means they're quite satisfied, I would say. So every band is definitely worth to see. So people show up early and support all the bands, which is really a sign of having a certain interest in each band, even the first band opening the night every evening, like Fractal Universe. And that shows that people are, well, accepting a mixed package. That was something I've been a little bit, not worried, but you ask yourself if it's going to work out well. Since in the past we usually toured with like death metal packages, and now we are looking a little bit left and right. With Thulcandra we have a more like black metal oriented band. Fractal Universe attract more or less the more younger fans, I would say, with a little bit more proggy style, while God Dethroned have a more melodic and like mid-tempo approach. So it's like overall a quite mixed package, attracting, I would say, the biggest parts of the extreme metal family.
Yeah. So actually Diluvium was released 2 years ago, so how is the public still responding on the songs?
As you mentioned, the album is already 2 years old, which these days is quite a long time frame. But, well, seeing all the reception we get from the shows, people know the songs. Since the focus on this tour is also on tunes from Diluvium, from that record, I would say they love it. It's also, to be honest, the most successful record of the band. So we had the highest chart entries. We toured the world once again, and the shows are going to be bigger. Each time we play somewhere, the shows are going to be bigger. So that's a sign of doing things right.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about Diluvium?
Diluvium?
Yeah.
I would say it's the mixture and the mixture itself of the music. It's not only a technical death metal record. We have so much more, a quite wide spectrum of music. There are a couple of slow songs, fast songs, mid-tempo songs, death metal ballads, total morbid angel worshipping song. You have techie songs, proggy songs. It keeps me quite interested as a listener, and I'm still a fan of that kind of music. So I don't want to have an album that contains 9 songs that sound the same. And that's my favorite part of the album. It's not perfect. It's definitely not perfect,
but it's, as you said, it's probably better than the other releases and has the more success.
That's my personal opinion. There are, on each record there's something I really like and parts I dislike, but it's a snapshot of time, so to say. And Diluvium definitely catched us at a quite good time.
Then do you expect a new Obscura album soon?
Yes, we're hitting the studio this year, and so far we plan with a release by next year, early next year.
That's good news.
Yeah, but I don't want to tell too much about that.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if you can detail a bit about the musical direction you want to go through the new album.
Well, what I can say is that we just finished the 4-album concept. It took us 10 years to finish.
Yeah.
With Cosmogenesis, Thulcandra, Acrasis, and Diluvium. And this was a long chapter of the band, and now we start something new. We still keep the trademarks of the band, but finishing this entire concept also leaves us more freedom to do something else.
Yeah. So as you said, you're on double duty with Obscura and Thulcandra. Tell me, how can you manage it? Isn't it tiring, or?
It is definitely demanding, and I would be a liar if I say doesn't affect me at all. But to be honest, you simply have to be disciplined on the entire tour. So here and then a good party, I wouldn't say no, but at the same time you cannot waste yourself. It's not possible. Then I would not be able to perform every night. So I'm basically playing really extreme music for more than 2 hours each evening, and that's 22 shows in a row. So there's one day off, and that's a travel day from Helsinki to Stockholm, I think. But so far, I really like it. For me, it's a completely different experience. Since Obscura is extremely well planned, every hit, everything is like on spot, and also the stage production with in-ears and click tracks and everything, that makes it extremely shiny. While Thulcandra is the tiny little dirty brother of that entire thing. So we don't use click tracks for everything. We don't use real backing tracks or anything. It's just like pure heavy metal, and that's a completely different approach, and that's what I like. Those bands are what I'm doing since more than 15 years. I founded Obscura in 2002 and Thulcandra in 2003, and I still loved it. And the best thing for me personally is like having both at the same night. I love it.
But was it your decision actually to put both bands on tour?
Yes, I choose all the bands on tours for Obscura, and as I mentioned before, we wanted to go a little mixed route, not to only attract technical death metal fans, but also something around them that was simply easy. You also have to keep in mind sharing band members within a tour package like that saves you some space in the tour bus, and therefore it was a lot of pros for everything. And since we end the tour in our hometown in Landshut, hometown for both bands, it's super easy for everyone.
Yeah, but also there will be a new Thulcandra album.
Yes, also next year.
Well,
we are quite busy these days.
That's good. Well, you have actually I first discovered Thulcandra, and then I have discovered Obscura. So I was really wondering what's about Thulcandra, because if I'm not wrong, so you can confirm it, you are on Thulcandra is not active so much live, right?
I wouldn't say that. We had some lineup changes 3 years ago, and it's a matter of fact that Obscura is my main band, so to say, but at the same time Thulcandra is rehearsing way more. So the reason for that is simply that every band member and crew member of Obscura is spread within Austria, Switzerland, Germany, Norway. It's a completely international team. And Thulcandra, we are all based in the more or less area of Bavaria. That makes it way easier, so we can rehearse way more often. And we haven't played too much live in the last 1 or 2 years, simply because we don't have a new album ready. But so far we choose this tour to build up the band again, make some buzz for the band, get the band out there, show that we are a functioning live band. I mean, you will see it tonight, it's definitely approval. And with that considered, we will definitely play way more live when the new album is out. And that is also to be expected. I'm not sure if we can make it by the end of this year, but latest early next year. On Napalm Records.
So if there will be 2 albums released next year, of both Obscura and Thulcandra, maybe you will do a new tour with both bands again.
Maybe, but not in the same market. Maybe in the United States or somewhere. Who knows? But it works quite well. I mean, all those members, they know each other since a long time. It's fine, it's just good vibes.
Europe or North America? What continent do you prefer? And I'm talking here about the audience more.
I wouldn't make a difference. You can also add Asia, Australia, South America, Central America.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make a difference. It's you just have to see the cultural differences. For example, if you play in an audience in front of an audience from Japan, it's a completely different way of approaching the music you play live instead of you play in, for example, South America or in Europe. Even within Europe, there are so many differences. Next week we're hitting Scandinavia, and people are a little bit more cold-blooded, so to say. They also go to the shows because they love the music, but they are not that extroverted as, for example, people from the South. But you still want to play in front of both, you know.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind. What I really like are extremely hot concerts with packed venues and everybody enjoying it and being loud as hell. That's what I can sell. I don't care where it is.
I also want to ask, what is your opinion about the streaming platforms? Do you consider they ruined CDs or vinyl sales? I used to ask some bands about it.
Yes, of course it ruined the CD sales and maybe also vinyl sales, but at the same time the music industry is always in a constant change. I mean, if you look back 100 years ago, there was always a different medium. And everybody said, yeah, downloads destroyed the music industry. Yeah, the physical part of the music industry, but if you consider that these days there's more music to be consumed than ever before. Just go to any metropole, any bigger city. When people go to work every day, they have the earplugs and listen to music constantly in every underground, in every bus, everywhere. They're just listening to music. 20 or 30 years ago, you may have had a Walkman with cassettes, and you had one cassette or two cassettes with you. But these days, you just listen to one or two songs. But the entire behavior, how to consume music, that changed. I talked to many fans and friends, and barely anyone takes the time to listen to an entire record. So that means one-hit wonders are getting a little bit more attention, so to say. There's only that one. There are even bands or record labels that consider only releasing EPs and send the artists out on tour. Let's see how that works, how that turns out. I wouldn't say it's bad or worse, it's just different. It's just different.
Definitely different.
See it from a fan's perspective. If you're a fan living, I don't know, somewhere in the world, and your band is from another continent, you want to listen to the music. Back in the days, you would have had to order CDs or vinyl. It takes weeks to be delivered. Nowadays, you just have 2 clicks. You need 2 clicks to listen to your favorite music, which also is a big opportunity for smaller bands. For example, if you have a band from South America, they accidentally get attention in Central Europe.
Exactly.
Which makes it quite interesting. So, from my perspective, there's no bad or worse, it's just different, and you have to have the right nose in which direction it goes.
Yeah. It's like today you have, let's say, Spotify, YouTube, whatever, and easier to listen, and then you can decide, yes, I like this band, I like this album, and then you say, okay, I want a CD also. But before, it wasn't like that. So actually, you would probably buy a CD or a cassette, and then, okay, I have to listen to it even if I like the band or not. So now you can decide if it's worth to have a CD in your collection after you listen online. So that's my point of view also.
Which makes it a little bit backward looking into the 70s and 80s. The good bands have been those bands who toured as much as possible and been fantastic performers.
Yeah.
That is the case right now. So everybody in those old-fashioned thrash metal scenes or whatever say, like, back in the 80s everything was better. The fact is, okay, you sold a couple of CDs or vinyls at that point, but at the same time only those bands who really performed really good made it bigger. And these days, performances like live shows, first of all, are the more or less only source of income for artists, aside from the small amounts you get from streaming. But at the same time, you prove yourself as a band or singer-songwriter, artist, whatever you do, only through the live shows, which makes it quite interesting.
Yeah, different days. So I talked to some bands about it, and also some of the big artists said, for example, I don't know, Ginny Simons from Kiss said that it really destroyed it, the streaming platforms.
Nah, I wouldn't say so. It's just different. You put your focus somewhere else. Live shows are simply more important than in the 90s, I would say.
Yeah, that's how it is. So, as a last question, is there anything else you would like to add?
To add, well, I'm happy to be here right now. We play in Romania today. It's the third time we are ever playing in this country, and I hope it won't be the last time. And so far, I could just tell you, go to the shows, watch all the bands, and have a good time.
Definitely it won't be your last time here. Well, thank you, Steffen, for your interview. It was my pleasure, and see you later on stage.
See you later on stage twice.